Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Monday, June the 23rd. We're here to look at the new releases that are published this week. And on Mondays, we look at cozy mysteries, at least the start of them, because there's always a lot. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Mondays. Our next sprints are tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We do them every Tuesday and Thursday evenings and Saturday afternoons. Hope you had a good weekend. Let us jump into cozy mysteries. Here is your book news for the day. Isis Crawford has a new one. 19th in the Mystery with Recipes series. This is called A Catered Bake-Off. What's the worst that could happen on a reality show bake-off filmed at a picturesque estate? As it turns out, a whole lot. Thrown into the fray against four seasoned competitors, the Simmons sisters face more than just cameras broadcasting their frosting mishaps on local TV. Right from the get-go, their small screen debut sours with suspicious ingredients and malfunctioning appliances. Then there's the inexplicable invasion of goats that sends the entire production into a tailspin, followed by a flurry of ominous notes delivered anonymously to the cast and crew. Tensions really reach a boiling point when one of the judges meets a grisly end: death by exploding espresso machine. With a dangerous mystery solidifying, Bernie and Libby whisk through the vast property on a mission to uncover who could have taken down the show's discerning food critic. But when the bake-off serves another victim, the sleuthing siblings find themselves racing to catch a mixed-up killer before the final timer dings. Good morning, Kim. How are you? How was the rest of your weekend? All right. Daughter's Guide to Mothers and Murder, a Countess of Harley mystery book number 8 by Diane Freeman. Frances and George are enjoying some well-deserved leisure time in Paris when an old acquaintance from London, Alicia Stoke-Whitney, seeks Frances's help to investigate a personal matter. Alicia's daughter is being courted by Carlson Deaver, a wealthy American shadowed by a very suspicious tragedy. Less than a year ago, Carlson's wife, a former actress, was murdered. Her body discovered in one of the more dubious quartiers in Paris. Though authorities guess it was a robbery gone wrong, no one was ever brought to justice. Until Daniel Cadeau, inspector for the Sûreté, follows a startling new lead. None other than Sarah Bernhardt, legendary icon of the Paris stage, receives a piece of jewelry stolen from the victim, along with an incriminating note: "I know what you did." It opens a new door for the Hazeltons' investigation as well, but not a soul believes that the divine Sarah would become entangled in something so disreputable as murder, even if she and the late Mrs. Deaver did have a history of theatrical clashes. Amid questions of revenge, blackmail, scandals, and secrets, more poison pen letters follow and suspects abound. Now it's up to Frances and George to infiltrate the most elite social circles of Paris and find a culprit before another victim faces their final act. Kim says her weekend was okay, and she loves George and Frances. Well, yay! New books. We love that. This next one I have pre-ordered. I do enjoy this series. It's the Lady Darby series by Annalee Huber. This is called A Tarnished Canvas. March 1833. Kira and her husband Sebastian Gage have decided to settle in Edinburgh for the winter with their infant daughter. This also allows Kira to enjoy long hours painting in her studio, making progress on the portraits she soon hopes to unveil in her own exhibit. She's thrilled when she receives an invitation to the auction of the late Lord Eldon's coveted art collection, and she and Gage eagerly accept. When the floor collapses beneath the gathering, killing one of their fellow bidders, Kira and Gage are lucky to escape with their lives. Within days, it becomes apparent that what at first seemed to be a terrible accident is actually something far more nefarious. Someone deliberately compromised the integrity of the structure, though the police are unsure of the culprit's aim. Sergeant McLean requests Kira and Gage's assistance in figuring out who would wish to harm the bidders. As they dig deeper, it becomes increasingly apparent that the victim was not the killer's intended target, and that Kira was lured to the auction deliberately. Kira and Gage must utilize all their resources to unveil a monster willing to risk the lives of dozens of bystanders to achieve their ends. But they're on the verge of making a dire miscalculation, for one of the cleverest tricks in a painter's repertoire is the art of misdirection, and their eyes have been drawn far from the gravest danger. I do recommend that series. That is a good one if you're looking for historical mysteries. Good morning, Mary. Happy Monday. Hot here in Virginia. Oh dear, going over 100 today. Yuck. With humidity. Yuck. 99 otherwise. Hoping the HVAC man can come today to fix the AC. Oh no, your AC air conditioning is not working. Shoot. And Kim, I'm fourth in line. Oh, at the New Orleans Library. Yay. We're starting out cool today. Yesterday was a cool day. We had a storm sock in, so we're only in the 40s, and we're starting 40 today, this morning, but it's supposed to get in the 70s. An Amateur Sleuth's Guide to Murder by Lynn Cahoon, first in the Bainbridge Island Mysteries. Tip number 1. What doesn't kill you counts as work experience. Meg Gates could use a guidebook for life. Indeed, she's faced some challenges. She dropped out of college to work for a tech startup that failed, and her fiancé just took her bridesmaid to Italy on what was supposed to be Meg's honeymoon. Now, at 26, Meg has taken the ferry ride of shame from Seattle back to Bainbridge Island to live with her family. At least she has her rescue Cocker Spaniel Watson by her side, but it's Meg who could use a rescue, and she's hoping it will come in the form of a part-time gig doing research for a best-selling mystery writer. Tip number 2, write what you know or what you want to know. That's when the light bulb goes on. Meg will write her own guidebook, a manual on criminal investigation. But before she can impress her new boss with her pet project, the author's manager is found dead on the rocks beneath the author's Gothic mansion. Now it's time to put her guide to the test as Meg sets out to clear her employer of suspicion and solve the crime. But there's one important caveat she'll have to add to her guide. Tip number 3, beware of unknown dangers. End of that row. Next up, one of my very favorite historical mystery series by Carla Simpson. I've mentioned it before. If you love the, I have a sneeze coming. Excuse me. If you love the Veronica Speedwell series, this is a very good, similar tone one. Kim says, I hope so, Mary. Yep, it's too hot to not be with air conditioning. Maybe you can go hang out in the library in the meantime. Deadly Attraction, 13th in the Angus Brody and Michaela Forsyth murder mysteries. Hidden among the romantic rendezvous and secret messages in the Times of London's personal column, a peculiar ad offers one young woman the opportunity of escape, travel, adventure, and a new life. No questions asked, all expenses paid. It seems too good to be true. It is. For Gwen, Charlotte, and Lizzie, it was. Each woman responded. Each disappeared without a trace. Michaela Forsyth, no stranger to risk herself, agreed to look into the disappearances as a favor for a friend. What she discovers is chilling. None of these women left London, and an unsettling pattern suggests there may be others. When the ad reappears, Michaela devises a dangerous plan. She'll answer it herself. It's the only way to find out what really happened. But taking the bait and risking her safety puts her at odds with Brody, her closest ally. As Michaela steps into the unknown, she finds herself entangled in a mystery far darker than she imagined, one that threatens to claim her as its next victim. Again, highly recommend that series. Do start in the beginning. Vicki Delaney has a new one. We've got some big names today. Trouble is Brewing. 5th in the Tea by the Sea mysteries. Kim says, although I don't turn mine on, I live in front of my fan. Electricity is too expensive. Directional coolness. Focused directional. Members of the Reynolds and Hill families are staying at Lily grandmother's bed and breakfast, and now they've gathered at Tea by the Sea to sip some delicious blends while they shower bride-to-be Hannah Hill with presents. But the last package Hannah unwraps contains a beheaded Raggedy Ann doll, similar to the last gift from her father before he died long ago, and she's chilled to the bone. Lily senses that the shocking anonymous gift just might be related to other tensions she's picking up on. The mothers-in-law have been sniping at each other, and then Lily overhears the groom's father, Ralph, offering his son a very sizable bribe to call off the wedding. She's relieved when Greg angrily turns him down, but with so many people steamed at each other, can this event possibly go smoothly? The answer is no. It suddenly has to be postponed when Ralph is found dead in his bed, a bottle of whiskey beside him. When tests indicate the booze was infused with a lethal substance, it becomes a murder case. Now, to find out whether all his family drama led to a fatality, Lily will have to turn up the heat. A Terribly Nasty Business by Julia Seals, second in the Beatrice Steele series. That sneeze made my nose plug. After achieving her lifelong dream of solving a murder, bringing a killer to justice, and proving she is not, in fact, a morbid creep, Beatrice Steele feels like everything is finally falling into place. She's traded her etiquette-obsessed community of Swampshire for the big city of London, accompanied by her ever-trusty chaperone, Miss Bolton. They've settled in a lovely neighborhood, Sweetbriar, known for its proximity to the Sweet Majestic Theatre, picturesque pleasure gardens, and an unfortunate infestation of flying squirrels. But Beatrice's favorite part is that Sweetbriar is also home to DS Investigations, the new office she opened with the prickly, annoyingly logical Inspector Drake to solve the city's brutally thrilling crimes. However, nothing is turning out how Beatrice imagined it would. Sir Huxley, a famed gentleman inspector and Beatrice's former crush, is still considered the real investigator in London, so the only cases left for Beatrice and Drake are lost pets and spectacles. Not that Beatrice has much time for crime solving anyway, as her mother still expects her to find an eligible, rich husband to protect their family from destitution. Beatrice is struggling to balance all the demands on her and begins to wonder if she can become a true detective in a city that feels full of false promises. That is, until a string of murders thrust Beatrice and Drake into the center of a scandal that pits the neighborhood's wealthiest against the arts community, spreading fear and chaos throughout the city. As they follow the trail through bewildering ballrooms, secretive shops, and odd operas, Beatrice must survive threats to her partnership, her business, and her place in society to break the case before it's too late. Murder on the Green by Christine Knapp, 5th in the Modern Midwife Mysteries. Mary says, know what you mean about expensive, Kim, especially when you have no idea what the bill will be. It has gotten very high. True. I think electric companies are not necessarily above board. Mary asks, how is Steve healing going? Hope all is well down the road to complete healing. Well, he had his first follow-up from his finger tendon surgery. And he's not had his bandage on as much as he should have, and it became infected. So he is now on antibiotics, and it looks like it's getting better. But thank you very much for asking. By virtue of a lottery windfall, modern nurse midwife Maeve O'Reilly Kensington is taking her sister Meg, her mom, and some of her mom's friends from the Hanville Grove Senior Center, affectionately dubbed the Ladies of the Lobby, on a dream holiday to the Emerald Isle. They are welcomed with open arms in Ireland and are instantly captivated by the warmth of the reception and the natural beauty of the landscape. However, the luck of the Irish is not with Maeve when, soon after arrival, she discovers the body of a woman in Ballymore Green, murdered. Maeve quickly learns that the victim was a relatively recent transplant, somewhat of a recluse, and a thorn in the side of many. Initially reluctant to get involved, Maeve and Meg soon realize if justice is to be served, it's up to them to figure out the truth. Spurred on by their lion-hearted mother, the pair go to great lengths to whittle down the eclectic list of suspects. Long-buried secrets bubble to the surface, and the M&Ms struggle to bring the guilty party to light. Will the visit be ruined before it even starts? Will the discovery spark an international incident? Will Ireland ever be the same? End of that row. And Mary, you were in Ireland. You left it as you found it. Good girl. And I don't suppose you had to solve any mysteries while you were there. Murder mysteries. Mary says, oh, sorry to hear that. Meg could be such difficult patients and try to rush things. Have a friend whose brother rushed his knee replacement surgery and got himself in a real mess. Yeah. The Ex-Girlfriend Murder Club by Gloria Chow. A whodunit mystery. The body in the closet was going to be a problem. Catherine Who knew it. Yes, Tucker Jones was a cheating scumbag, and yes, she agreed to meet Olivia and Elle, Tucker's other girlfriends, to exact revenge for all he'd put them through. But then they found him, dead. Do they look guilty? Yes. Do they feel guilty for having wished him dead just hours before? Maybe a little. But solid motive and a crime scene covered in their DNA aside, they're innocent, they swear. To clear their names, Kat, Olivia, and Elle team up to find the real killer, but as they go undercover and lie to everyone, including the hot detective working the case, they realize that every person in their ex's life had a reason to want him dead. Will they uncover the truth before they go down for a murder they didn't commit? On the plus side, I'm getting a new stove this week. On the slightly negative side, Steve was wanting me to help move it in and move the old one out. And I said, you know what? I'm almost 60. No, I'm not going to. They have burly men to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. Now, this next series you'd think I'd love, but I kind of don't. I haven't read it, but I did try a few pages in the first one. This is Thus With a Kiss I Die by Christina Dodd, second in a Daughter of Montague series. This is the daughter of Romeo and Juliet, who apparently didn't die. Woe, for I am the bug that meets the windshield's might, no longer the speeding glass, smooth, clean, and bright. You're right. I, Rosie Montague of Verona, am lousy at iambic pentameter and Shakespeare speak, but you get the point. Sometimes you're the windshield, and sometimes you're the bug. Except how can there be windshields? I, who for my whole life have cruised along unruffled by life's trials, am suddenly smashed flat and speeding recklessly up the what the hell happened highway. Why, you ask? I'm 20 years old and by my own design never been wed, free as no married woman ever is. I'm beautiful but without conceit. For Juliet, my legendary mama, is the most gorgeous creature to ever walk the earth. Just ask Romeo, my legendary papa. Rumors of their deaths were premature. I was heart whole until I fell literally in love with Lysander of the House of Beautiful, but our love was not to be, for I was thwarted by Aeschylus, the Prince of Verona, who had designs on me. I'm trapped. Then I'm presented with a solution. Aeschylus's father, Prince Aeschylus the Elder, appears to me. He tasks that I find his killer. Did I mention Elder is a ghost? Given that I'm only recently dispatched Verona's first serial killer, I'm less than pleased. Yet Elder promises to unite me with my one true love, so I gather clues. Meanwhile, revolution threatens, for beneath Verona's society's glittering surface lurk dark shadows and an enemy eager to make me a tragic heroine in my own right. What issues, you ask, that I have with this? I respect Shakespeare. This author doesn't. There'll be Shell to Pay by Molly McGray. A haunted shell shock mystery. Doesn't say if this is a first or continuing in a series. Does not indicate. Maureen is still getting used to life on Ocracoke Island, learning how to play the shell game of her business, the ghost whispering with the spirit of Emrys Lloyd, the 18th century Welsh pirate who haunts her shop, the Moonshell. The spectral buccaneer has unburied a treasure hidden in the shop's attic that turns out to be antique shell art stolen from Maureen's late husband's family years ago. Victor Shelley Sullivan and his wife Lenrose visit the shop and specifically inquire about these rare items. Not only is it suspicious that this shell collector should arrive around the time Maureen found the art, but Emrys insists that Sullivan's wife is an imposter because Lenrose is dead. A woman's corpse the police have been unable to identify was discovered by the Fig Ladies, a group who formed an online Fig Appreciation Society. They're meeting on Ocracoke for the first time in person and count Lenrose among their numbers, so the woman can't possibly be dead. But Lenrose's behavior doesn't quite match the person the Fig Ladies interacted with online. Now Maureen and Emrys, with assistance from the Fig Ladies, must prove the real Lenrose is dead and unmask her mysterious pretender before a desperate murderer strikes again. Last one for the day. A Deadly Dunk by Cindy Bell, fourth in the Lakeside Cottage Mystery Series. Bobby is settling into life in the quaint cottage in Newfield, Vermont with her golden noodle Bailey and a growing group of friends. The town is buzzing with excitement because the newly restored lake is ready to be reopened. To celebrate, the locals are hosting a lakeside event with fun food and other festivities. But the celebrations come to a grinding halt when the town's basketball star is murdered. Bobby's determined to get to the truth, but that isn't proving an easy task because the victims seem to have more enemies than friends. It's a race against the clock to catch the killer before someone else gets hurt. All right, everybody remember we stopped on the dog with the basketball. Yeah, thank you. It's just not causing much harmony in the house, but you know what? I'm almost 60. I don't want to do that anymore. Alrighty. Well, tomorrow we'll be looking at the darker side, crime fiction and thrillers. We'll get back to the rest of the cozy mysteries probably on Friday, which is Freeform Friday. Hope you have a very good Monday. And again, I don't have any sprints tonight. Our next sprints are tomorrow night. Alrighty. I hope, Mary, stay cool. Do what you get. Hopefully the AC guy comes early. If not, is there a place that you can go and be cool? I worry. And Kim says, have a great day, y'all. Back at you, baby. Kim says, this was fast this morning. Have a great day and many thanks. You betcha. Thank you for being here, guys. Kim says, Sarah. Oh, it's Sarah's tonight. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, thank you. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom, nom, nom. Have a good day and God bless.